hope you're all well. It's Emily here from the Outside Bride / Baylily Bell Tents. There's someone missing right now. Big Alan here. He's currently up there in our bedroom with a child that is not playing ball. That doesn't always happen to us. We're very lucky usually. However, we went to Pizza Express at around 4, had a lovely family 3-course meal at Pizza Express, left Pizza Express just after 5, and somebody fell asleep, and that was the littlest one, Joseph, and he woke up just as we got to the driveway, and now was like, whoa, I'm wide awake. So currently he is battling a 10-month-old baby, so I thought I would start rather than, I know you're all like chomping at the bit waiting for this every week. So I thought I wouldn't delay and I would jump on first, and he will hopefully be here any second. So got my weekly gin. It's not Ask an Expert without my gin. 1 second. And what I forgot to say this week. So exciting week this week. We've had some great blog posts put out. We have had an amazing one. Hannah put one out yesterday, if you haven't seen it, all about myth busting, things to consider when you're looking at your outdoor wedding suppliers. Quite a good one really, actually. If you haven't seen it, it's you get fed so much information in the media, you know, good old fake news all the time. You get fed so much information about what you should be saying, what you shouldn't be saying, how to get a good deal, how to haggle down your suppliers and stuff, and actually a lot of it is either not true, actually going to not do any service, it will do a disservice, and you're not necessarily going to get the best out of your suppliers if you do that. So give it a read, take what you want from it. It's quite interesting. Hi Kerry, hope you're well, and yeah, take what you want from it and give it a read, because actually it was quite a good little piece. It sprung from, I'll tell you where it sprung from. I have a supplier friend, a photographer friend, who took a booking on. She did a job last week, and she turned up to the event that she was coming to. It was a party, and the client had booked as a party, and she arrived at the party and it was a wedding. Now that is one of the biggest myths, one of the biggest sort of stories people will do feed you to say is, when you book a supplier, do not use the word wedding, because if you use the word wedding, suddenly the prices all magically go up into the air and it gets ridiculous in the sky high, and they try and rip you off. That is not necessarily true. Now, if you use the word wedding in an inquiry, 2 things can happen. Either you could get a cowboy kind of supplier who's there going, ooh, add an extra 0, or you get a supplier going, right, okay, it's a different type of package they need to offer, because with a wedding compared to a birthday party or on the street or whatever it is, certain equipment's necessary, certain filters are necessary, you need to have a certain amount of time, you need to time block your day properly, because you need to make sure that you've got from the bride getting dressed to the groom, or getting dressed, the other party getting dressed, you need to be getting to the church or the ceremony in a decent time, you need to be thinking about moving venues and all that kind of stuff, and it takes a lot more planning than instead of going to a garden party like we are now and just doing some point and shoot snapping. So she actually was very upset with the fact, and it wasn't because it was a price difference, there was no price difference at all in what she was offering, it was just the fact that she was ill prepared, and the client would have had less of an experience than what if she'd actually been honest in the first place, going, it's a wedding, I've got a wedding coming up, please be my wedding photographer, we need you for this day, and we need you for 8 hours, and we want to cover all of this. Because you think about planning what shots you want, if you want any stage shots, if you want any golden hour shots, if you want all of that, you need to be prepared, and it's ultimately someone's skill, and they are mentally preparing to deliver something on the day, and that's not what they're delivering. And ultimately as well, you sign a contract, and if you're signing a contract for something and on the day it's something different to what they expect, you're actually in breach of contract, and they have every right to say, yes, see you later, I'm going to the pub now. So make sure you're very clear. If the reason you're not saying the word wedding is literally because you're worried they're going to put an extra 0 on, it's not always the best way ahead. So ultimately, get to know your suppliers. If you are not sure, or if you have some ballpark figures, I hear footsteps. No, just next door. Ultimately, go and meet that supplier face to face. Get to know them. Go to a wedding fair. Go book a consultation. Go and see them at an actual wedding. A lot of suppliers say on the morning of the wedding, come down and see what we've done in action live, and a lot of brides and grooms are happy for that to happen. So get to know your supplier. You'll know quite soon whether that's the person you want to work with, ultimately, before you're trying to get them down on the price. So yeah, check out the piece. It's really quite an interesting little read, and it does dispel quite a lot of myths about what you should be thinking about or asking when you're booking a wedding supplier. What else has happened this week? It's just gone mental. The weather. The weather went bad again. We had an amazing wedding at the weekend. I felt really bad because it was pouring down with rain once again, second one this season, I think, so we can't really grumble at the ratios. But didn't it rain? Oh my goodness. We had a lovely couple who were in Alton, and they had another beautiful Sperry tent from Papakata, and they had our Bell Tents on the site as well, and loads of other stuff. And I've got to say, and this is no endorsement to any other companies and stuff, Papakata, their tents were so light and bright and such high ceilings, and the big panoramic windows. You didn't even notice the rain outside. It was really cozy on the inside, and they had loads of beautiful sheepskins and throws everywhere, and they had natural just foliage and stuff. It was so pretty. It was definitely a good choice for them, and they had a great day, so I'm really glad for them because it did bucket it down. I want to have a little shout out. I've got 2 brides this week, Baylily brides this week. Well, actually got 3 Baylily brides, but 2 wedding tent type people. We've got Laura Bond, who we are setting up for tomorrow. So Laura, you're getting married on Saturday, I believe, so a massive congratulations to you. And also our long-term listener, Sylvie is getting married to Drew at the weekend as well, and I'm event managing her day, and I cannot wait. I absolutely cannot wait. I've also got Charmaine on Saturday. We're doing a chill out tent for her as well, so I hope all 3 of you have an amazing weekend. Whatever you're doing, it's going to be absolutely fab. The weather is meant to turn again. Heat waves ahoy. Yes. Right. Normally this would be where Alan gets his computer out and goes, look, we've had all of these questions this week and blah blah blah, and I have literally got a blank screen, so I'm just going to roll with it, and hopefully. Emily Jane, we emailed you about bell tents for camping. Right, I will see. Has this been recently? I will check out if you have. If you are a new inquiry, please bear with us. We will try and get to you as soon as possible, but I will check out your email, Emily. Thank you very much. Right, the first question, I believe, I can't remember who it's from. I'm really sorry because it's on the magic computer that is locked down. Oh, I have 1 second. No. Let's see if I can get the password. Oh, he's so easy to break into. Right. We had someone talking about pets and weddings. Pets and weddings. Bear with me, guys. You know when you're a double act, and then I feel sorry for the Chuckle Brothers. You know, years of being each other's sidekicks, and now he's alone. I feel like that with Alan right now. He literally keeps me going. So let's see. Outside bride group questions. So we had a question from. Oh, that's another one to talk about. Whilst I'm stalling for time, did you see that amazing wedding that Alan shared into the group today with the slack liners across a canyon? Looked absolutely epic. Right, bins is one we're going to talk about today. Outsourcing is one we're going to talk about today. I don't know where that's gone. Where has it gone? Basically, the question was about bringing your dog to your wedding. A lot of people are. Oh, there we go. Is it there? Yeah, Emily Bauer. Hi, Emma. Sorry I didn't get there quite enough. I'm literally trying to do all the tech at the same time as trying to think in my brain going the next way. My question is about animals, dogs for me, so I can't be the only one that's their beloved dogs involved with their day, and having a reception in the outdoors is the perfect way to have them enjoy the fun. But how are others planning on keeping your eye on them? I've got 2 massive boys, and I know for a fact that both would try and nick all the food from the tables and would wrestle Uncle Mike to the ground with his Wagyu burger. I love that. Other uncles are available. I can't even imagine what would happen to the cake. Are you inviting other guests to bring their furry friends along? Do I need to ensure that the dress has got pockets so I can carry abundance of poo bags around me? And any ideas would be truly appreciated. Right. I love the idea of dogs. If Alan was sat here now, he'd be like, yeah, not at all. You know, he's not really a dog person. I am more so. We actually, the wedding we did 2 weeks ago had their dog that was, I want to say his name was, what was his name? Gatsby. His name was Gatsby, and he was the ring bearer. lovely. There's a really nice personal touch, especially if they are your fur babies and you really want them to be part of the day. Why shouldn't they? But they're part of your life on a day-to-day basis. They should be part of your wedding ceremony. Just proceed with caution if you're doing so, especially if you are in grounds of maybe a manor house with lovely gardens and stuff. If you're in a field in the middle of nowhere, then hi Vivian, hope you're well. I would say if you're in a field in the middle of nowhere, a bit more relaxed, then that's okay. But number one, check with your venue to see what their restrictions and what their allowances are, because they may say straight away no to pets at all, so that's absolutely fine. If you're going to go ahead and have a dog and you know that's all okay, I would say probably limit the amount of dogs that come. I'm not going to lie, if you have a pack of 10 of them running around your day, you are going to have things that happen, like for instance, as you said, cake tables are going to go over and glasses are going to be over, they're going to be running across the site to go and see you, they're going to get excited, they're going to have muddy paw prints, you're going to have a white dress, it could all be end in disaster. However, there are things you can do to mitigate against that. Number one, making sure that you have people that know your pet really well, who are happy to take it in shifts a little bit, making sure that they have a shady area, making sure that they have a bed or their water bowls and stuff in an area that's not in the main hustle and bustle of the party. It's a real... Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello.
Come join. 1 second. You have to sit on the other side, please. It's like Anton Deck.
I haven't got my sliders on.
No. So yeah, making sure, ultimately it's a really... It
Hi
can
Charlotte,
be
hi Vivian, hi everyone. So I haven't even got a Hawaiian shirt on.
He hasn't. Do you want one?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I feel like I've got slightly a Hawaiian shirt going on, so I can like take one for the team.
I was being a proper man upstairs. I was going, I bet she hasn't done this, I bet she hasn't done that, I bet she hasn't done this. And I came downstairs, you've done all of it, so 10 out of 10.
Smug face.
Yeah, you can have a smug
Right,
face.
so anyway, what I was getting to. Yeah, it's a really stressful time because animals who are used to being at home, they might be sociable animals, but if you've got 150 guests all running around, it's a very heightened environment. You're looking beautiful.
Well, I normally would do it beforehand, so I'm so sorry.
So make sure that they have creature comforts in a place that's not in the main hustle and bustle. Make sure that if there's a working entrance to the marquee, if you've got a smaller 6x6 at the back, not necessarily the kitchen because that's not necessarily hygienic, but if they've got somewhere behind the marquee or tent where they can have their bowl and their bed or a bit of shade where they can just have some quiet time, that's great. I would also say investing in those amazing, like the spiral corkscrew stakes you can get in the ground, get an extra long lead on that, get a spiral stake in the ground so that at least they can be not pegged down to one spot. They can have free reign, but you're not going to worry about them chasing after a pheasant or something that's on the other side of a field. Make sure that they are stuck in one place. And also, as I think about noise for them and think about the fact if you are going to have barking and stuff, is that what you want? Or can they be there for part of the day? If you want them in part of your service or you want them part of the sit-down breakfast and stuff, fantastic. Can they be taken away elsewhere for the evening? Because again, loud music, if you're having fireworks, all that kind of stuff you have to take into account, and it's a really long day for everyone. Like I said, know your dog, you know your dog. Do you know everyone else's dogs? Will they be as well behaved, or is it just where for one day just say no, sorry, get great Auntie Flo somewhere else?
No kids, no dogs. Sorry, just a joke.
Emily, it's a stress day for us as humans. It might be too much. Exactly that.
Yeah, because well, I mean, I'm not a dog person, so I have to put that out. So if I say anything way out there, it's because I don't really know. But yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people who treat their dogs like humans. I presume, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, if they're not being loved and tended for in the normal way, then they may like it.
Vivian's just written, ooh, maybe you should branch out into doggy daycare for type tents, wouldn't they? You know.
No. Thanks, Vivian. Great idea. No.
We had a tent at the weekend that we definitely reckon a dog had peed in.
Oh yeah, very cool. I was taking one down and it had been a hen do and there was a yellow mark and I just assumed it was, I don't know, a drink, someone being sick, something like that. So I'm down there brushing it with my hand thinking, oh, it's coming off, I'll get that off. So I've got a cloth to get the rest off. And then I'm like, yellow, they've got dogs.
Big dogs.
Corner of a tent. Yeah, that's doggery. So I got in the van and
anti-vax. It didn't go. So. Next question I just want to segue actually. It's not a question that was in the group. It was a blinking kick-ass post.
Did you mention shade and stuff for the dogs and everything?
Yes,
yeah. All the off stuff.
Is back to Charlotte. Charlotte, the queen of reclaiming and foraging.
Inspiring
and
us
she is
all.
the most. She is putting into place
What's
for
this
her wedding.
called? We loved it.
It was a pole.
We're just
Polegreen
looking
Church.
at Polegreen Church.
Now, if anyone hasn't seen this yet, do pop into the group and scroll down a little bit.
very
Charlotte
cool.
this morning was talking about getting, because she's having a woodland wedding, talking about getting some stained glass windows, either making her own stained glass window, or their own stained glass windows, or getting some from a reclamation yard and all that kind of stuff to make it like a church, because it's almost like a chapel in the woods. And she's just taken it one step further, and this awesome, it's almost like I would probably describe it as the frame of a clear span marquee.
Well, it's a
It's a
church.
wooden, but it has the window frames around it.
Imagine the Mormons were building a church and they hadn't filled in the gaps yet.
Epic.
That's what I look at it. Charlotte, I was thinking about this because Emily and I do a lot with scouts. I don't know if you know that. And a lot of the scout campsites we've been to over the years, the proper big ones, not like temporary ones, have chapel areas and things like that.
No joking.
So have chapel areas, and a lot of it's built out of what's called pioneering poles and things. So long poles, with a circumference sort of like that, diameter, sorry, like that.
Get
What's
good at your lashing.
circumference? One around diameter. Yeah, sorry. And
It's okay.
no, it's an hour. An hour's it's just too long.
It was an hour and a half this
Kids
morning.
should not take an hour to get to sleep,
No.
and it's our fault for letting them have a nap.
But
after
Charlotte,
5,
please do, because I don't know exactly your wedding date, but if this is something you are doing and you are either sourcing yourself or making yourself, I'd be really interested in speaking to you about maybe doing a little bit of a blog post as the journey to your wedding, because this is something I've never... The journey. I've never seen... Hi, I'm talking about you, you see. I've never seen anything like this, and I would be so keen to see this and how it gets built and what you do and where you find things and what you...
What I find interesting, we're not watching the video, we've just got your picture. What I find interesting, and I use one of my favourite words here, like Emily and I bang on about how clean lines are on trend. But what the picture with the white frame is, it literally has those clean white lines juxtaposed to
Juxtaposed.
Boom! I'm having that to the woodland forest around it, and I can't decide if I like that contrast more than if the frame was built in a more rustic way.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Are we going with the contrast? I think so. I think I like the way it's.
Charlotte says, I'm far too excited about this hut. Well,
Yeah,
seriously,
and you know what? The reward's there to be had for the effort put in, isn't it?
yeah, please do document this. I am so keen to see how this pans out.
Definitely.
I really am.
Do a video or something. Do a live into the group, whatever.
Somebody else put...
We've had loads of stuff. It's been a bumper week,
Somebody
isn't it?
else put about bins.
Right, so I was talking about that, and actually one of the other suppliers commented, no, it was on my post about...
Right, there we go, it was Millie. Millie says, obviously we need rubbish and recycling bins around the field for our wedding. Does anyone have any ideas how many to... Can you please answer the question? How many will we need? How can I make them look nice? And where can I buy or rent them? Before Alan goes into what he has to say, the one thing I would say first, before anything about deciding how it looks and what you need, is do you need them at the front end of your wedding?
I was going to say so into it.
Wait, connection? We've got connection? Can you all, if you can see us, can you give us a thumbs up?
We've had dodgy internet all
dodgy.
day. I think just keep talking.
Okay. We have had... think about how many weddings you've been to, be it outdoors, be it indoors, be it a wedding in a hotel, be it anywhere. How many times have you actually physically needed to go to a bin at a wedding?
Well, think about how much litter you're going to create.
You as a guest are going to create, because ultimately you're going to arrive. You are going to be given a welcome drink potentially and have a canapé. That glass might get recycled. You might be keeping hold of that glass. You're not necessarily going to have plastic. Are you going to have plastic? Are you going to have waiting staff taking glasses away from you and reusing them? What's going to actually be created during the actual reception time that needs to have bins at the front end of your wedding? Thank God
We had
it
a
worked.
glitch.
We had a little glitch. Sorry about that, guys. It was just, we have had building work next door and they've been up and down. Yeah,
It's nothing to do with
open
them.
and reach for a pole yesterday. So we have... I'm losing my train of thought now.
Well, you're waffling about bins.
You're probably going to need recycling. You are going to need recycling because you're going to have glassware, you're going to have bottles, you're going to have, if you've got disposable plates and cups and that kind of stuff being used, because it's that style of wedding, especially if you're in a field, you might not want to use glass and chinaware. that will be on the back end, hopefully. So think about if you're having blocked out walls on any marquee or teepee and things like that, and having your bins to the back of that, because then if you've got waiting staff or anyone who's in charge of clearing down, they can take it out and put it in the back. So number one, don't always worry too much about how they're going to look at the front. If you're going to have them at the front, because that's the style of wedding you're going for, and it's a bit more of a free-for-all, maybe it's a barbecue, maybe it's people having
When
themselves.
you said before Alan says his bit, did you actually mean I'm going to say everything?
Take it, go. Sorry.
No, go for your life. Go for your life. Go for your life. I thought we were a team. No, go for your life. What Emily said. No, go on.
If it's going to be more of a barbecue style and people are more bring your own beer or shut, you can't really comment.
You're still talking about bins. Go on.
Think about maybe we've always talked about the rush matting you can get. You can get burlap. Someone said about burlap bin sacks. You can get. Doesn't really matter. Ultimately, a bin's bin. But if you are having bins out the front, do try your hardest to have recycling bins and regular waste, because it makes it easier at the end of it. Do you want to talk about the other side in terms of large-scale recycling bins and stuff?
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Do you want to, though?
Are you predicting what I was going to say?
No, I'm asking, do you want to say?
She does this.
He's hiding grumpy.
I am. Look at the bags under my eyes. Go on, keep going.
With regards to larger scale and getting wheelie bins, and wheelie bins are great if you can get hold of them. Talk to your local council; they may be able to help source it. Otherwise, talk to someone like CETA or anyone that has skip hire and that kind of stuff, because it might be just easier and cheaper in the long run for disposing of waste to get a skip somewhere on site that can be easily accessed by a vehicle to take
we do
it
like
off-site
recycling.
afterwards.
We do talk about this, don't we? So Emily and I, on our wedding, we hadn't quite factored in the getting rid of the litter.
No.
We hadn't done it, you know, that's, how many years we've been? 5, 6 years?
6 years.
6 years. And shut up, you're normally the one who doesn't remember. And actually, all our ushers and best men ended up taking the van we'd hired on the day after and filling it up and taking it all down to the local tip, and we didn't want that.
No.
And so actually a bit of planning on litter is really important. One of the suppliers in the group commented, possibly worth speaking to your catering team about. They may have a solution. It may cost, but we've talked about this before. There's generally some kind of cost, whether it be time or money, somewhere. So sometimes for that extra little bit, it's worth just getting it dealt with and done on your special day, so you and all your guests can just continue to enjoy it, etc.
I think I would say it's the day after you need to think about the most. It's the clear down. It's knowing you might have bottles. A lot of people are thinking practically, especially with their carbon footprints these days, about having reusable glassware or kilner jars or jam jars or that kind of stuff, and having a name written on that cup. That's their cup. I saw a really cool one the other day. It was metal shot glasses, kind of little copper shot glasses, but that was their favour for the day.
Funny enough, I just had the same thought.
Yeah.
Haven't we seen little kilner jars as named as favours recently?
And that's their responsibility to hold on to. That, number one, cuts down your waste phenomenally, because you are only creating 100 glasses to be used rather than 300, 400, 500, 600 plastic glasses. But I would sorry.
Might have a few.
It was on. Sorry guys. The other problem is when you're using my phone, which never has any battery, and Alan's usually on with the tech sorting it out, and he wasn't here, so it's all his fault basically.
Or yours for leaving it to the last
yes,
minute.
So think about the clear down. Think about what waste you're going to be creating. If you're going to have anything on tables that will be binned, anything green where you still need to remove from the site. It's very tempting sometimes, especially with foliage, just to throw it into the hedge next door. But actually, it is probably best to dispose of that properly as well, because it's not necessarily natural to that environment, especially if you've got grazing animals and things like on farm fields and that kind of stuff. Make sure anything that's not from the field is off the field at the end of the day. So take it all with you.
Yeah.
The whole leave no trace thing is really important.
Yeah, the same supplier as mentioned, speak to the Dave, I think it is, would mention that. And we know this, we fell out with our caterer. It's a long story, we probably won't ever tell. But because they left litter everywhere, and there can be fines in place.
I'll happily sell it.
No, we won't tell it. So, what? We fell out because they left litter. I've told the premise of the story.
Litter,
but no, they weren't very good in the end. No. So, yes. But no, litter's really important to get your head around.
Someone else can we all the questions, please, darling? Oh, can we get out of this one? There was another question today about. Go down. Oh, down. No. Stop. No, down. Advice, no, that was spins. What's this one? No,
that's the blog post. I don't think there was anything
else.
There was one
more I saw. DIY versus outsourcing.
Yeah,
that was it. So, Becca a couple of days ago put a post on about whether how much really should be outsourced versus how much is DIY. She's worked with a wedding planner, and the wedding planner, they were originally going to just do the catering and the bar themselves and everything they were going to do, or do themselves rather than outsource. So the caterer and the bar potentially was going to be outsourced. Really, it very much depends on that massive word which begins with letter B, and that is budget.
Yeah, isn't it? It's a how long's a piece of string answer, really.
You could do all of it yourselves if you really wanted to. You could, go out. You could buy yourself if you really, really, really wanted to. Buy a marquee, buy a really basic frame marquee, and you could try and sell that at the end of your wedding to try and recoup some costs. You could do all the floristry yourself, you could do the cake yourself, you could do all the decor yourself, you could do the event management yourself, you could do the catering yourself, but ultimately you want to be able to relax on your day, and that's the big thing, is you are not there to, well, you are there to host for 100, maybe 150 guests, but the main reason you are there is to celebrate your marriage, not to be running around like a blue ass fly all day because you have to think this. So if you have it in your budget and you can outsource it, I would say outsource it. It's really no big deal because it's one less thing for you to worry about. But
if you're worried about it not being right, then make sure you specify how you want them to, or is it a SMART goal or whatever, corporate phrase
we'd always said, I mean, looking back now, we would always get an event manager now to do it. But on the flip side, but on the flip side, we are both massive control freaks. We work.
I'm not. You are.
We both work in events. We both love what we do. We love having the little details. We love sourcing things. I love making things.
Really sorry.
Oh dear me, calm yourself down.
Well, you're talking so much as well.
I don't think I could let it relinquish control of that. So think about what it is you want out of your day. If you love that stuff, do it. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but if it's going to stress you out and the day before your wedding you are still trying to work out how to hang linings and all of that, just
remember you've got X amount of guests, 50, 80, 100, 120, 150, 200 who want to talk to you. They're going to want to talk to you at some point, hopefully, otherwise why they're at your wedding. They're going to want to hug, they're going to want to have a drink with you. So and if you're running around, doing last minute whatevers, then that really is going to affect it all.
I was a bridesmaid for a very good friend of mine who was that other end of the spectrum. She did everything. It was Liz.
Why would you say that?
She's not in the group.
I'm going to tell her. I'm Liz.
She knows, and she's still now. I mean, she lived for her wedding, and it was a big build-up, and we loved planning it with her. And she really wanted it to be the best day ever. And it was a hotel wedding with certain restrictions, and she worked around the restrictions, and it got down to every last little detail was down, specifically written down, spreadsheeted, done. But she now says, a few years later down the line, she wishes she could redo her day because she didn't get to enjoy herself, and that's a really sad thing to think. If you didn't enjoy yourself because you're too busy thinking about the little details and what's coming next, it's just like, relax. It's just a day, and it's an important.
Whoa! It's not just a day.
Is just a day.
If you disagree with Emily on it's just a day, thumbs up now.
It is. Ultimately, it's an important.
So when I married you and we got married, was that just another day? Was it?
My sentiment
I thought it was quite important.
Shush.
Gosh, you can tell when you're tired and grumpy because you're just getting really argumentative.
I'm not being argumentative.
It is one important, amazing day you're going to have, but if you can't enjoy that one day,
that's an agreement. That's an agreement with me. I said thumbs up if you agree with me.
You've got to be able to enjoy it.
25% agree with me. Go on, keep going.
There is no point in doing all that work to not enjoy it. There's no point at all. So if you can afford to, want to do it, you don't know what their thumbs up.
No, I did. I said thumbs up. Charlotte, look, it really is. It's so rewarding doing it all yourself. You've just got to bear in mind at some point, it's nice to sit down, have a look what's going on, have a chat and everything else.
Charlotte, I don't think this is you. I think someone else has written it is asking what they should be outsourcing.
No, Charlotte's saying I'm one of those.
Oh, you're one of those,
yeah,
yes.
Not I'm that one.
But Charlotte, how bloody cool are you though? You are taking that extra side of it to a whole new level.
Or, do the DIY stuff up to the day and then let the catering and venue, run the day.
I will say this again, and Charlotte, I'm not. I have never met you in my entire life. You are brand new to me. The first time we met was on this group, so I love the fact that you're in this
It says
group.
you're mutual friends. You went to school together. No, it doesn't. I made that up.
You're a brand new. But what I don't think, and in all our years of working on weddings and events, I have never, ever, ever met anyone like you. You are just on a different level to the rest of us. I can't.
Another level. Don't miss
Bowers.
it with Dame Bowers.
You
Emily
literally are.
Yeah,
hashtag
Emily.
goals.
I'm with Emily. I think I'm doing what I can till the day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And look, we say this week in, week out, week in, week out. Try, if you can, if your budget allows, or you've got a friend who wants to do it, can do it, etc. Try and have someone to look after the day for you, because you know what, we all like having parties, we all like hosting parties, but just, you know, being able to have a chat with your best mate or whoever and not worry about that it's 7 o'clock, the cake needs to be cut, is worth its weight in gold.
Or if you're
for
not,
that just another day.
If you're not going to book someone in at all, you all know what my sentiment was, so you just ignore him because he's being a pillock.
50% agreed with me. They put thumbs up.
Yeah. So, if you're not going to have...
That was enough for Brexit. Right, keep going. That was a way stupid comment.
Or
Come on.
if you're not going to have an on-day coordinator, wedding planner, or anything like that on the day, which is absolutely fine, just use your direct wedding party. You know, you've got mums, dads, friends, bridesmaids, ushers, best men. Don't give all of them all the responsibility. Make sure that, it sounds really regimented, but if you're needing support on the day, have a talk. If you've got a wedding rehearsal the day before, if you've got a sit-down meal before, if you're all hanging out the day before, just talk through how you have your vision for the day working so everyone's on the same page. Write it out if you want to. Give everyone a sheet of paper. This is what we want done. Bob, can you do this at 2 o'clock? Helen, can you light the candles at 8 p.m? Just make sure that someone has that list of things that you want them to do so that you can make sure things that you do not want to be the one to do it.
Emily, ask your other half, basically,
What's it say?
who it says she wants one, the other half says it's excessive. Ask him who's going to do everything. You know, who's going to make sure X, Y, and Z happens at the times you guys want it to happen.
And it all depends on your times of the day, because you can get people there for partial parts of the day. For example, I'm doing Sylvie's on Saturday. She's only having a half day of me, and I've got another one in September that has a whole day. And you know, you might find that you can get different prices. I don't say knock down people on pricings, but just do some research.
We don't like that.
Work out what people's prices, because you don't know unless you find out. Because for some people, you hear the word wedding planner and you think, oh my God, that's thousands of pounds. If you hear the day on day, it could be as little as £300 for the day. It could be £500. It could be £10,000, but you don't know. Go and have a look. Find some people you might like, people that you know will be on the same page as you, may have the same kind of energy, kind of you can bounce a little bit to talk about, and just find out what their prices are. Because if you've saved some money, I don't know, you've managed to claw back some money from your flowers because you're doing them yourself, or you've managed to find some really awesome alcohol deals and your bar's a lot cheaper. If you can find that little bit of money extra and it's going to give you less stress on the day, I would say do it.
Yeah. Well, Emily's just put, we need to slowly wrap up, everyone, if that's right. Emily's just put, it's just trusting someone on the day. It's very true, but you know what? This is a really bad analogy, but you trust that Tesco's are going to give you a half-decent loaf of bread when you walk in, right?
Yeah.
I know that's a stupid analogy. So if someone's advertising, here's waffling, I will do it, otherwise he knows what time to turn up. Yeah, that's the other side of it. But if you're looking at wedding planners and looking at their on-the-day planning, if they've got reviews and they're established business, and you know, the chances are they're fine. Now, we know quite a few wedding planners, and we know some who are expensive and are brilliant, and we know some who happen to be, I don't want to say cheap, but quite reasonably priced, we feel, and are brilliant. They're both brilliant, but they deal with different ends of the market, different things, and you know, it's just a bit of hunting around, research, etc., etc.
Some people always go with it, and I don't wholly disagree, but I do disagree a little bit. People say the whole buy cheap, buy twice mentality.
It's generally it's kind of okay.
It's okay, you know, because ultimately you may get two wedding coordinators, one at 250 quid, one at £1,000. But that's not to say their services are awful. This one's awful because it's so cheap, and this one's amazing because it's so expensive. it could be the fact that this person's been in business for 20 years, this one's only been starting out. She might be, or he might be, kick-ass.
I agree with you, Emily.
Kick-ass at what they're doing. What's she saying?
She says, I don't want my guests to do it.
No,
I totally
absolutely.
agree.
You want them to enjoy it. But she might be kick-ass at her job, but still just wanting the experience and can't yet warrant charging prices that 20 years down the line person is already charging. So, like I said, worry not about the price, meet them face to face, get a conversation going, see what their energy's like, see what they think about your day, and just roll with it if you want to roll with it, is what I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right. Yes, Emily, unfortunately you do need to do research. I know there's a couple in the directory on the Outside Bride blog site, so go and have a look in there. I'm just trying to think. Well, I don't know where you are really either. So I bloody love to do this as a job. Well, you know what, Charlotte? It's very quickly. There's a lot of hoo-ha around brides who get married and then go, oh, I want to do this at a job.
Sylvie's on!
But the fact of the matter is, I reckon the vast majority of people in this industry started after getting married. So, yes, if you want to do it, explore it, do it properly, start slowly, build up, work out what you're going to do, etc., and do it, because we live in a world where you can do that. Just think about it and plan it out, which you're clearly a planner. So go on then.
Very, very quickly.
Then we need to go.
Yeah, we're wrapping up, and I'm just really excited because Sylvie has just popped on, and she wasn't meant to be on tonight because this is the eve of her wedding, and guests arriving from France. But Sylvie, if you're still watching and you haven't clicked off again yet, we are just talking about the value and reasons for getting an on-day coordinator.
What,
now,
like you?
Like me. Now you've booked me, Sylvie. What were the reasons for you? Forget about being me. What were the reasons for you booking an on-day coordinator?
That's a really big question.
Well, maybe you can type it in the box afterwards. But people wanting that security, or is it because you just really can't think about it? Or I'd love to know, as you have booked a coordinator for the day, what your reasoning is for doing that. Right, on that note, we need to go because I'm freezing and the sun is still out, so we are hoping still that we are beating the whole dark versus cold, aren't we? Still,
I'm allowed to say
he's
something
so grumpy
now. Honestly,
he's so grumpy today.
Yes, today. Give it a rest.
Right, on that note,
right. Thank you,
Sylvie,
everyone. Apologies for being late. Apologies for being grumpy.
We all wish you an amazing wedding on
Yes, we
Saturday.
do, Sylvie.
Laura,
Absolutely.
we wish you an amazing wedding on Saturday.
Has Laura been on tonight? No.
Well, she may be. Charmaine,
see you tomorrow, Laura.
We
actually.
hope you have an amazing wedding on Saturday. Anyone else that we don't know of getting married on Saturday, we hope you have the best weekend ever.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Charlotte. Heavy contributors
Emily,
this evening.
I'm going to go and dig out, see if you've got an email now. I haven't found it, but I will go and find it now. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.